Here we go.
So welcome to our first college roundtable on the Common Thread. So let's do a quick intro, go around the table.
Seth. I played at Salve Regina University for a season, D3 school up in Rhode Island, and then I transferred to Elon and played there for one season, and they were D1.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Very cool. And you play what
position?
Goalkeeper.
Dylan, I'm a midfielder. I played for Furman University for 5 years, which is Division I, and it's in Greenville, South Carolina.
Nice.
I'm Kazi. I played at Campbell for 3.5 years, and then I transferred to Missouri State for one season, and I'm a center mid.
Center mid?
Yeah.
Did you say what position you played?
Center mid as well.
Center mid, of course. The playmaker.
The playmaker,
yeah.
I'll finish off our trio of midfielders.
Oh,
I'm
gosh.
a center mid. I played at Johnson Wales University, which is when I played was a USCA Division II school. It's now an NCAA Division III school, and I played there for 4 years.
Awesome. What position did you play?
Finishing off the trio.
I know, but since we got 3 midfielders, be more specific.
I was an 8. I was a
You're
box-to-box midfielder.
Box to box.
Yeah, I love
box
running.
to box. Awesome. So this is super exciting. Big question I want to start us off with is college soccer, right? There's so many questions, and I think vagueness around, is it a goal that youth players should have? Is it the end destination players should have? Is it everything it's cooked up to be? And so going around the table, we have a wealth of knowledge of different experiences at different levels of college ball. So the first question we want to throw out to everybody is college soccer everything you felt like it was going to be? Who wants to start us off?
Dylan, take this one.
Yeah, I'll start. Yeah, I think it is what I expected it to be. I think going into it, you're also going to be a student, which I think a lot of kids can forget and kind of put it in the back burner during the recruiting process because they want to be so focused on soccer, but they don't realize that if you get injured, you still have to enjoy the school, right? You have to enjoy your major. You have to enjoy the people that make up the campus. So, for me, the big focus was finding a school that aligned with what I wanted to do academically, right? The size on top of the soccer, right? The coaching staff, the way they played, how close it was to my house, right? The region it was in. So going into it, I knew it was going to be, a brotherhood of 30-plus guys and soccer at a really high level. But on top of that, it would be a grind, academically as well. So freshman, you're kind of naive and don't know any better, but by my 5th year, I had a really good understanding, and I really enjoyed the whole process of it. I mean, there was a lot of long days, but overall, it's like they're my best friends that I still talk to today. Plus, I played at a high level and got to meet amazing people and played against some of the best teams in the country, So I really enjoyed it overall.
That's awesome.
I don't know. I disagree.
Hey, right off the bat.
But I think it's also
such a keeper, right?
Yeah.
Such a keeper.
I don't know. When I went into college, I was like, oh, I'm going to go play college soccer. My thought process, I didn't think about all that stuff ahead of time, and I wish I did. I remember, saying, my 3 things looking for a school were the 3 S's. If it had soccer, if it had surfing, if they gave me a scholarship. Besides that, I didn't really look too deeply into the coaches. I didn't look into the culture of the team. I wasn't as concerned about all of it. So going in, my head was okay, I'm going to play soccer, and that's as far as I thought. And the soccer piece was great, but the environment and the people around me, I wish I took that time to look into it and to kind of think a little bit more future rather than, well, surfing check, soccer check, scholarship check, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it definitely wasn't what I expected going into it. And a lot harder from every standpoint, from a social standpoint, from athletic standpoint, education standpoint, discipline standpoint. So yeah, for me, it was a little bit of a surprise.
I love that.
Yeah. Kaz.
I think for me, it was a mixture too. Yes and no. It was what I expected. I knew it was going to be a grind every single day where your best friends are the 18-plus girls that you see every single day at practice. But I also think from a standpoint of mental health-wise, I did not realize how difficult it was going to be with just how demanding it was, how structured your life was around the game, which was a blessing, but also just kind of something to navigate because when you're growing up in the youth level, you have school and then you have soccer and then you have social life and friends and all that. But once you get to college, it's very difficult to balance all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to what Dylan said about the academic side, you forget kind of that you're a student. You're there to get a degree first, but then once you're in season, like it's all consuming kind of. So I think for me it was definitely a bit of a surprise, at least from just like the mental standpoint, how hard you really have to dig deep and like, you know, be with yourself and take the time to reflect and see like how you're doing, how your teammates are doing. Like I think the support system, I don't know if it's different for guys versus girls, but like for us girls, like we really had to lean on each other, just mentally during like the times it was really tough with our coach and when it was difficult in COVID with all that. So yeah, but I think overall like it genuinely was something that made me a stronger person. And so, I mean, I'm full advocating for like going into that if that's something that someone wants to pursue. But I would definitely like keep in mind that the mental side is a big adjustment.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I think mine is almost like opposite of theirs because my school, I didn't play at an extremely high level school. It was a lot more lenient. Like we were so much more relaxed in comparison to how extreme their schools were, especially at the Division I level. And so for me, what it really came down to is like, I knew I wanted to play, and I knew that going to play was going to require me to hold myself to a higher standard, and that I was going to have to be the best version of myself every day in order to show up, to be able to play at a high level, and be able to be on the field. And that was one of the main reasons I chose the school I did, was because I knew if I did well, I was going to get to play. But then at the same time, also being able to have the opportunity to much more balance my social life and school life as an academic person as well. And for me, it was just like I got to play and enjoy at the same time at a much more relaxed level while everything was still competitive. But the value that I got out of going to play in college was like the people I got to meet, the relationships I got to develop, the places that I got to go, and the opportunities that I got out of it were just incredible. And for me, that was what I needed. I didn't need a ton of like extreme structure that I would have gotten at a Division I level school where everything is so set out for you and there's so much more required from you, which for some people is a really good thing, but that was not what I needed. I needed a place where I could be more free and that I could just get to play. And that was what I wanted, and that was why I ended up going where I did. And on the other end of that, location was so important for me. I still got to live in Charlotte, right in the city, and play ball at the same time while earning a degree. And so those three things came together for me, and I got to have fun playing. And that was what helped me develop more as a player, was I got to enjoy my footy still.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about playing, because this I think is a big piece that's a shock for a lot of players, is especially if you get recruited to play college ball at whatever level, it's usually you are a contributor on your club team while you're still a youth player. Then you get to college, and playing time is not guaranteed. And I think for a lot of players, it's a shock when they get into an environment where it's like you're not just playing with your peers anymore, you're playing with people 2, 3, 4 years older than you that have multiple years of experience. Unless you are a rarity and you come as a freshman and get a ton of minutes, you got to get involved in the team and you've got to put the work in. So what were some of the surprises that freshman season for you all? Because I know everybody had different experiences their freshman season of either playing a ton or not getting the minutes you were hoping for.
Can I take this one? Yeah. Because my freshman season was COVID, so I didn't have a season.
Was it everybody's?
It was my sophomore
year. Sophomore year.
Yeah.
Freshman year.
Freshman and freshman. Okay.
But mine got pushed to the spring, so I still had a season.
Yeah, we played one game in
Dang.
my first year, and the training was atrocious. Not to mention, we didn't even have facilities.
Yeah.
We trained on a public park, and that was like our actual field, by the way.
Yeah.
We didn't have facilities where I played, and so like we would just walk on down to the local park, and we would have like really small groups. We'd have to train in masks, and it sucked.
That was awful. I
It
remember that.
was the worst thing in the world, and it's like, what are we even doing? We're doing like bear crawls around fences for nothing. Like, I don't get to play on the weekend. I'm just crawling around a field to get stronger. Like, coach, please put a ball at my feet.
Yeah.
And so for me, my freshman season was like, if I can stick through this, like, I'm gonna be okay, because if I can do this without the opportunity to play, when I do get to play, like, I'm going to be so grateful for the fact that I can run around on a field again without a mask. But then my sophomore season came, which is like, no more COVID, I'm excited to play. Worst season in school history. Losing season. The coach that brought me in left because he couldn't stay through COVID. We had a whole new staff come in. It was awful. We would go to games, and on the bus you could feel the morale was just like, we're gonna lose. and we would just get smacked. We could barely keep the ball. Goals would just fly in. We couldn't attack. And then all of that led to a final 2 amazing years. So it was like terrible COVID freshman season, worst season in school history, and then we dropped everything we didn't need and really focused on the culture piece my sophomore spring season and just drilled on that. We ended up only having 8 guys left after having like 20 past COVID, and we just dropped anyone we didn't think fit the system that we wanted to build with our new coach, and we just drilled into that and then had the best season in school history following that, and then even better my senior year.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun past those first 2 years, but the first 2 years led to the final 2 years.
Yeah, cool.
That's awesome. For me, for my freshman year, similar with Ev, we didn't get a season during the fall, but in a way, I think that was really big for me in a good way because I had the opportunity to train and understand, okay, this is the style of play, this is what I need to do during the winter to get better so that when we do play in the spring that I'll be somebody that they go to, or if not, like start. So for us, we got to play in the spring, but we only had 10, 11 games or so. And I was grateful enough to like be a starter as a freshman and play a lot of minutes. But I don't think going into school, if I would have gone in during COVID and we had the season, I don't think I would have had that same opportunity just because I don't think I was at the level that I needed to be at without training for those few months with the girls. So I definitely felt like it was a blessing in disguise having to wait during that time and just get used to all the tactics and the technical side and the physical side. But then also just from a standpoint of like going forward with college, I did end up still playing a lot. But then my last year actually was when I went through not playing as much, not starting. And so it was kind of like flip-flop. Like you would think like, oh, as you go, you'd start more. And as you get older and more experienced, that's when you start to get more minutes. But it was like the reverse for me. And so it was really hard because I kept looking back at my freshman year as like, oh my gosh, that was my peak year. That's it for me. I'm just going downhill from there, especially my 5th year because I felt like I wasn't getting as many minutes as I may have deserved in a way, but my role on the team kind of shifted, and instead of me feeling bad for myself, I was like, okay, I'm an experienced player, I have a lot of knowledge, how about I help my teammates out, even though I'm not playing on the field as much, I can help be that, support system for them and be a leader the way that I know that I can be. So I think it definitely is all about character development in those times, because in the youth you may be that star player and you might be that star player in high school, but then once you get to college, it's really all about what that team is wanting in that moment, and it might not have anything to do with you as a player, but if what system works best for that moment, that game, is all that matters.
Yeah,
so.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think a big thing that a lot of incoming freshmen have to realize is that they're competing against sophomores and juniors, seniors, and 5th years who are like 2 to even 4 years older than them, that have been in the same system, that know the coach, that know the environment, that know what it's like to be in a conference game. So there is a learning process, and just the biggest piece of advice is be a sponge, right? So learn from the older players, learn from the coach, right? And through that, you're going to earn the respect of the captains, the older players, and the coaches. And through that respect, you'll get opportunities to play. But without that trust and respect from the captains and coaches, it'd be tough to break through to play. We've all been there where you kind of have a welcome to college moment, but then and like a month to 2 months later, you kind of get that respect, and maybe it's a little conversation with the captain, or maybe a comment that someone makes, and it's like, oh, okay, like I can kind of be a little bit more free because I've put in the work and I've done what's needed, and now I can kind of express myself more because I have that trust and I have that respect from everyone. So like for me, I was a sub the first 7-8 games. We played like a 4-4-2, and I was getting like 15-20 minutes, which was solid. And like the whole time I was just working hard, being a good teammate, listening, taking in what their captains and older players in my position were saying. And then we changed formations before conference, and they needed another midfielder, and I kind of slot right in there. And then I started basically every game, and then throughout my career every game. Of course there's exceptions here and there, but I think if I had a negative attitude the first half of my freshman year of like, why am I not playing? Why am I not doing this? Like, why? I would not have been ready when my name was called upon.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, paying your dues and realizing that like you might not start right away. But I know people who haven't started their freshman year and now they're playing pro, where it's like everyone's journey is different. And if you don't start 2 games in a row, you don't start the most your freshman year, by no means does that mean your career is over.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of having that humility and understanding of you just have to put in the work, and once you earn that trust, it's much easier to move forward,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think when I went up for my freshman year in Rhode Island, I was going into a system that was graduating their 4-year goalkeeper who'd been their guy since his freshman year. And the coach made it really obvious coming in, like, there's 1 junior, 1 sophomore, we're bringing in you and another freshman, position's wide open. So preseason was a lot of mental battles in a really strange way of normally, like, the people in your position you become friends with, right? And you get really close with kind of in the beginning. You're going through it together. For the keepers, it was
different world.
The junior goalkeeper was the ultimate locker room guy, so he knew he wasn't going to play, but he was probably the most important person in the team from a culture perspective. So he was really cool in kind of taking me and the other freshmen under his wing and bringing us up. But in preseason, it was really a battle, and I was lucky enough that I was able, once the regular season came, I played every minute. And I played every minute in the tournament, and I had a really good time, and I had a really good season. We're really successful. We made it to our first tournament. But soccer for me was going great my freshman year. School-wise, everything else just kind of wasn't the fit for me. Like, I loved the people there, but it wasn't mixing with who I was as a person super well. So then I decided to leave. Sophomore year, COVID hit, and I joined the Elon team sophomore spring. And then I went from being this like number 1 guy who played every minute to not even sniffing, like going on the field. And as a keeper, you play 90 minutes, you play the whole game. So it's not like I can maybe get 15 minutes or 10 minutes on and off. So it really caused a lot of turmoil within me, and like, is this worth it? Is putting in all this time to grind on the field, wake up, do the extra workouts, like put in as much as I can, to be told by your coach, you're not getting in. We have 3 guys from academies from Europe who are going to play over you. And I understood it, but for me as a keeper, playing time was the most important aspect for me. So, yeah. That's kind of my answer there.
Yeah. So I think that leads to another good point, is I think that there's a real important skill in life, which is knowing when you need to be patient with the process, and then when you need to take a shift in direction. And I know that for you at Elon, right, there was a shift. There came a point where it was like, I am so okay with where I came through in my journey.
Yeah.
And at this moment in my life, I feel really good about walking away.
Mm-hmm. And the thing was, like, I'd fallen out of love with the game.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't enjoying going to practice. So I looked at it and I was like, okay, let me go study abroad in London for a semester. And I walked away from the team, no hard feelings. But then I joined the club team for my final junior and senior year, and I played as a midfielder. And I had so much fun.
Right, that's what you're missing out on.
I had
you just
so
need
much
to be a
fun.
midfielder.
Not even like just being on the
Welcome to the club.
But not even just like being out of net. I think just being at a team that I was able to play and contribute, I found the love again.
Yeah.
So something I always say to kids or parents when they ask, it's, for me, the most important thing was playing time, and if I'm going to put in this work, I want to play. So that was always like a really big question I throw back to kids and parents when they're thinking about this journey.
Right. Yeah, that's really cool.
I wanna add in on this because I actually just remembered. I quit my team after my junior year, like talking about knowing when to walk away.
Yeah.
I was going to study abroad in Barcelona, and we had won a national championship, and I was like, cool, like that was the school's goal. They had lost in 2 finals the 2 years before I was there, and then we got it done in my junior season. I was like, cool, like I'm gonna wrap it up. Had my little Iniesta moment, sat in the middle of the field, walked away.
Had to be theatrical for sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
And it was then when I was living in Barcelona that I was like, oh wow, I really do love playing for my school, and like I have another season. Why would I miss out on playing with these guys I've come up with for 4 years, like these are my best friends now. These are people I love to play with. It's fun. Like, why would I not want to go back and play? And so when I reached back out to my coach and told him I wanted to play again, I fully understood that I gave up my number, I gave up my captaincy, I gave up my roster spot, and I wasn't going to ask him, like, I need the same minutes, I need my captaincy. I didn't want any of it back. I took a new number, I lost my captaincy, and I told him I understand I'm now the last man on the roster, I'm fighting for my spot just like a freshman, and I'm so excited for it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do the work again, and I just want to be there, and if you don't play me a single minute, that's fine. I understand I have to work, and I gave up what I had, and that is fine. But it made me realize how much I did love to play after I gave it up, and that was why I wanted to go back.
That's awesome. And then for you, Kaz, obviously, I think your decision to leave Campbell and go to a new school was a very similar kind of decision. Talk us through that process and how that connects.
So just to kind of like echo off you guys, I think for me, playing was the biggest thing going into school. Like, I really just wanted to be a big role in that team, and I knew that if I went to Campbell, I'd have a good shot at that rather than going to like a Power 5 school or that kind of deal. So I kind of jumped early in the process of, okay, this coach is interested in me, they see value in me, I want to go to this school, Campbell, and I ended up really enjoying it, and we won multiple championships. But then we had a coaching change after my sophomore year season, and the coach that came in, this is his first year head coaching, and our tactics kind of changed a little bit, our style of play changed a little bit, and it just didn't really feel the same as it was when I first came in. And I knew that change was inevitable, but I felt as though I wanted to go and challenge myself somewhere elsewhere, especially since I've lived in North Carolina my whole life. I wanted to see, okay, how can I adapt to a new environment? How can I do what I helped do at Campbell in a new place in one season?
Yeah.
I really wanted to just put that challenge of, okay, I know who I am as an individual and what I can bring to the table. Now let me go do it at another program. So fast forward to being in the transfer portal, that whole deal is like, I don't know about if you guys know, it's like a job interview. Like, you are putting yourself out there, you're emailing all these coaches, you're doing all the research, and it was a lot, but thankfully, I had some interest from some higher level schools, and one in particular was Missouri State. And I just really found their style of play when I was watching them intriguing. They just were really patient on the ball. They were really comfortable moving it through the back, and defensively they were really strong. They had set some records for the NCAA with goals against. So being a more defensive player, I wanted to be a part of that. But yeah, I think for me, the decision to leave was more so about me feeling like I'd reached a stagnant at Campbell, and I wanted to go challenge myself and see what I could do at a new program, how it would be to kind of be like what Ev said, like be back in that spot where you're the freshman again kind of deal. So I just wanted to see how I could adapt to it, and I think in the end I learned so much through it. But yeah, I think it was both being at both schools taught me so much, and they both had different things that were good and different things that were bad. So
yeah. And then for you, Dylan, I know this is a college roundtable, but I think that conversation that'd be really helpful to walk through was post-college for you at Richmond.
Yeah.
I remember getting on a phone call with you, and you had a similar decision to make, which was like, do I stay or do I go ahead and go, right?
Yeah.
Like, at what point do I make the decision of like, I feel really good about my decision, like I don't need to be here anymore? So can you kind of walk us through that decision process?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, similar thing, after you graduate college, everyone wants to play pro. And I was fortunate enough to do preseason with Richmond Kickers, which I really enjoyed. I loved the coaching staff, all the players, great community and organization. But similar thing where, you know, I kind of got to the point where I knew that it wasn't going to happen. And, you know, I had the ability to continue on and keep on grinding with it, but I was pretty happy and at peace that I tried everything I could to make it work. And there was like no hard feelings in that regard of, you know, I wouldn't have regret leaving and like closing that chapter in my life. You know what I mean? But, you know, overall, you know when you know. You know, it's like you can't tell someone, hey, you have to stop, because you don't know their emotion to it, their attachment to it, how their body feels, how their mind feels, right? But if you have that kind of inner dialogue and that reflection and awareness, and your body knows and your mind knows, then you're going to know when it's time.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, I just knew it was time, and like I said, would have kept on going if I knew that I could have given more, right? Or I could have done a couple of things differently, but I wouldn't have changed anything, and I did all I could, right? And I met amazing people, and I still keep in contact with a couple of guys on the team. So like I said, like, it's not like everything happens for a reason, but there becomes a time when you're ready, you know? So for me, for that case, it was ready, you know?
I think something else that is really cool that Seth talked about that I think ties in this as well is when you are excited, like you feel excited about the next chapter.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's such a cool thing. There's between like walking away because you're not happy versus I'm going to take a new path because I'm excited.
Yeah.
And so for you, it was like, I'm going to play club ball and hop in at center mid.
Yeah.
Right? And you found love for the game again. And for you, I remember you telling me like you were really excited about the next phase of the game for you, which was in the world of coaching.
Yeah.
And so, you know, for you, Kaz, it was like the next chapter of like, let me try a new program my 5th year and just go after it. And then for you, Ev, same thing, like coming back with a clean slate, like let me come in and compete like you don't know me. And so why don't you all really quickly just touch on this idea of how the game changes. So it's not that if you don't play college ball, you're done. Or if you do play college ball, it's like, that's it once it's done. But how does the game change for you both in and after college? This idea that at different stages of the game, you have to almost let a old framework or an old expectation of the game die so that you can rediscover the game again and fall in love with the game again. And I think too many players have a goal, right? Like if they're a little kid, they're dreaming of playing college ball. And it's like, you don't achieve it. Or you achieve it and it's not what you expected. And at that point, that old framework that you experienced the game through is now, it's kind of obsolete. It needs to die so that you can then come back to the game fresh to rediscover the game and enjoy it again. Because the game is meant to be enjoyed at all stages of life, right? So what was that experience like for each of you? Because each of you in your story have one of those moments.
I'll start. I was actually just talking to Seth about this because we played, the final for Quadra again last night.
And won, right?
And won.
Hey, SG retains the title.
Yes, 21-8. It was
Sheesh!
Close game.
Sweet.
Close game.
But like for me, since getting out of school, like really it's only been a year. But even in my senior year where I felt like I was my best in college, I was nowhere near the player I am now, just because of the sheer amount of time I've spent on a field since then.
Yeah.
But I also enjoy the game so much more, and it's just more fun. I feel like there's no pressure. I just get to play, and it's so fun for me now, where I feel free, but I also feel like I read the game better. I have better technical abilities. I have just everything has grown so much because it's now fully free play that I choose to play it, not for anyone else but for myself. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys we played against last night was 57, and he still made me jump 6 feet in the air, it felt like, on a fake shot. And I was like, if I can move like that when I'm 57 and still get out and play, like that is the ultimate dream, because I want to be able to play as long as possible, not to achieve anything other than the fact that it's just fun to play. And that was never really in the past, like, it's like, I need to be on the field, I need to be able to do this. There's no more need. Now it's just like, I enjoy, you know?
It's awesome.
Yeah. Yes. I think similar answer, but I think for me, going into college, I knew afterwards I wanted to play pro, and that's still the dream. But as I've been working here, I just have found my passion for soccer in a different way. Obviously, tearing my ACL made me step away from it for a season, so I did have to kind of rediscover that love in a different way through inspiring the youth or helping kids, and using my voice more than being physically up and able to demonstrate drills and all that stuff. But I think for me, the biggest piece of it was trying to figure out if playing pro is more something that I'm wanting to achieve, because that's always just been something that I've told myself that I'm going to do, or is it something that like I truly want, or am I satisfied where I'm at? And I know we had a conversation yesterday about how I just feel like a lot of peace right now because of my relationship with soccer, and how I don't have to prove anything. I know that I'm a good player and I have a lot of experience and I can help these kids in great ways. So I think for me, I'm still in that kind of battle right now of understanding, is playing pro something I want because I always have said that's what I want? Or is it something that, maybe I can close that book and close that chapter on it and pursue soccer and love soccer in a different way through coaching and through playing in adult leagues where we just have fun,
And ball out,
And
to
ball
be fair.
out.
First place, find out first place.
Yeah.
No, I think everyone goes through an identity crisis after they play, and I think if you say you don't, I think you're lying. If I'm being completely honest, I think one season, let alone 4 to 5 seasons of playing a college sport at a very high level, I mean, it's a routine. You become so used to the games, the training sessions, the weight room sessions, the travel days, long bus rides back, right? And I think we all miss it to a certain extent, but it's kind of redefining yourself. And you're the same person, but you no longer have that structure in your life, and you have to find that structure some other way. So I think for me, when I stopped playing competitively, it was like, wait, I don't have to wake up and like train right now, and that's like the first time I could have said that in my whole life. And of course I don't have to train right now with a team too. That's like the first time I could say that after like 5 years of playing with Furman. But I think just when it's an identity crisis in the sense of you have to just redefine what is your purpose and passion, right? And that could be a corporate job, that could be art, music, soccer, like still soccer, but maybe coaching or whatever it may be. But it's just, it's not going to be a perfect transition where it's like you snap and then a week later you got it, right? It takes time and takes reflection, but I feel like it's kind of redefining who you are and realizing that you don't have that structure anymore, but how can you still get that structure in some other way,
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I think for me, I've always loved soccer. Like my grandfather was big into it. That's kind of how I got into it. But I've fallen out of love with soccer probably 4 or 5 times, and I always come back. And I think the consistent reason why I've always come back has always been my dad's motivation, and his motivation, not of a sense that I'm doing it for him, but the reminder of you do love this game, and you get back into it. And like I remember when I stopped playing at Salve and then COVID hit, he was like, you could make the Elon team, like you're good. And then I did make the Elon team, and I had a good time. Wasn't for me, and I left. Kind of stopped playing for another 6 months, and he was like, well, you should go join the club team. You'd have a great time. And then I really fell in love with it, and I had so much fun. And then kind of college finished up, and sadly, he passed away. And so I had like this year or 2 break where I didn't touch a ball or anything. And I think you hit me up for a pickup or something. And I came back, and I like played pickup at Genome, and it felt like I was again with my dad, So now soccer's kind of become this therapeutic thing for me, in which whenever I'm down or however I'm feeling, if I just go kick a ball, juggle, whatever, like my mind goes blank, and I'm there, I'm in it, every problem's gone, and it's just so much fun. And I don't know, I think as you continue to grow with the game, maybe you start watching it more, maybe you try playing different positions, maybe you're like a baller on FIFA. Like there's so many different reasons to get back into it and a way to enjoy the game rather than it being this end-all be-all, like I'm gonna go pro, I'm gonna play at the highest level. It can really become a tool to just keep you active, keep you sane, make you smile, like a way to get socialized. So for me, soccer's just kind of evolved, and I've realized that it's more of a tool for me at this point than it is anything else.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are we out of time?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, any closing comments? Because we're going to have to do another one of these because there's a lot more topics to touch on.
I think for me, and this is what Seth and I were talking about just before we got started, there is so much value in going to play a collegiate sport because of the person that you become. Because you have an idea of what it's going to be, and it never happens. It doesn't, for anybody, in my opinion. Not in the exact way you think it will. So whatever plan you've laid out, it's going to take you down a path that you have no idea before you really reach your goal. And that is actually the best thing that could happen.
Yeah.
No matter what goes down.
That's awesome. And she's on it! Yay!
Wait. Final remark. You have to give one statement.
One statement?
One
Get
statement.
to
Come
work,
on.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, what? All right, see you later.